Welcome to the City of St. Albans official podcast from the desk of Mayor James, a podcast dedicated to adding context and commentary to the important issues here in St. Albans, West Virginia. In each episode, we'll sit down with the St. Albans Mayor, Scott James, and discuss relevant and important topics related to the city and highlight upcoming events here in town. I'm your co-host, Anthony Romeo, and we do hope this inside look at our city government helps you feel more engaged with your community. And you can subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Spotify, Apple, and Google. And, of course, you can find each of our episodes on our city website at stalbanswv.com/podcast. With that said, let's welcome our host, the Honorable Mayor Scott James. How are you, Mayor?
I'm great, man. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. It's another good evening to be here on this podcast. And, you know, anytime I have an opportunity to talk about St. Albans, I'm going to talk.
Absolutely. And joining us this time in the studio is we've got the St. Albans Fire Marshal, Lieutenant Chris Collins. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And in this time of year, we have to be mindful of a lot of safety concerns and safety tips. And you've brought probably a good bevy of those top-of-mind safety tips that you can probably share with us here at Christmas time to keep everybody safe here.
Yeah, this time of year, especially with the weather that we've got coming up in the next couple of days, anytime temperatures drop, fire risk and fire dangers increase. Some of our main concerns revolve around supplementary heat sources, the misuse, actually, I guess I should say the misuse of supplementary heat sources, such as space heaters,
absolutely,
fireplaces, things like that. It's important, number one, that we maintain those items to their listed use. It's also important that we use them accordingly.
Yes.
For example, space heaters shouldn't take the place of primary heat.
Right.
And there's a lot of safety issues that go along with space heaters. And when you use them, you have to really take a lot of responsibility and accountability.
Sure.
A main thing is keeping a 3-foot radius from all combustibles around the space heater, making sure that it's plugged directly into an outlet. It shouldn't be plugged into extension cord
or
power strips,
yeah.
Right, and it draws too much electricity for that, and it overloads it and is a huge fire hazard. The other thing is space heaters aren't designed to be left unattended, and a lot of folks will plug them in, go to bed, and use it to heat rooms while they're sleeping, and that's one of the most dangerous things you can do because they're not designed for that. They're designed to be used for small incremental periods, and they're designed to be attended at all times.
Right.
So that's a lot of the things we see, and along with primary heat source concerns and the proper maintenance of those things.
Sure.
Just because you have a furnace doesn't mean that it shouldn't be maintained.
Right.
And they should be maintained at least once a year.
Yeah, and a lot of our area contractors actually have those yearly services that they can offer you can take advantage of, that have that service available. So, why not take advantage of getting your stuff checked out and making sure it's working properly before you fire up that furnace?
Yeah, and something else to consider tomorrow with potentially having power outages and things like that. A lot of folks have portable generators, and it's very important that those portable generators are used according to their listing.
Yeah. We
had a fire this morning caused by the misuse of a portable generator, and it could have been worse than it was. Something to remember with any generator, it should be at least 10 feet from the house to eliminate the potential carbon monoxide poisoning, because anything that uses a combustible fuel source produces carbon monoxide.
Oh, yeah.
So that has to be at least 10 feet from the house, and they should never be overloaded past their rated use.
So with all this said, I mean, if you were to give me three top 3 tips of safety around this time of year, we're talking about space heaters, we're talking about alternative heat sources, and electrical outlets, more or less in the ballpark of things at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'd say would be use space heaters with extreme caution.
Sure.
Never overload your home's electrical circuitry, and make sure that your primary heat sources, whether it's furnace, chimney, that they're properly maintained.
Absolutely. And when we get into Christmas decorations, you and I just left the scene of a burn demo for the Christmas trees. You had a Christmas tree set up with, you had it watered for a number of weeks, and then you had
2 weeks,
and then you had one that wasn't watered at all for that number of period of time. And so walk us through the demo and the importance of maintaining that, that proper watering schedule and everything else of those trees, and what the consequences are if you're not doing that.
Well, what we see this time of year is that people are using more and more electrical devices because they're plugging in Christmas lights, different decorations. All these things add to the electrical pull from your house.
Sure.
So then you throw basically what amounts to a pine tree in your living room, and some people may not know, but pine sap's flammable.
Yeah.
And if you don't water the tree and keep it watered, then it dries out, and all that pine sap basically is as flammable as gasoline.
Oh wow!
And you saw how fast did the dry tree go?
I mean, it was pretty quick.
It was fast.
It
was almost like it was made out of gasoline.
And you made a point in your clip of video. You said it drastically reduces the time that you can exit a building or exit a home. The different types of the maintenance on that tree could cost you seconds, basically, of getting out of your home safely.
Yeah, well, everybody knows I'm a huge proponent of smoke alarms because I have never ran a fatal fire where the house had working smoke alarms in the house. Never in my career have I ever had a fatal fire that had working smoke alarms. So I always throw that out there with any talk I give. I always end with make sure you have working smoke alarms. But as you saw that Christmas tree, how fast it went up, imagine you're in your bedroom asleep at night, that thing goes up.
Yeah.
It was, 45 seconds, and it was fully involved?
It was pretty crazy. It was pretty quick, too.
So if you don't have a working smoke alarm and pick that up immediately, statistically, you've got about 1.5 to 3 minutes to get out of your house before it's untenable, before basically you're going to die.
Right.
So smoke alarms give you that early warning notification, and it's very important that you have functional working smoke alarms at least on every level of the house.
And this leads up to something that you guys offer down at the fire station is you guys actually provide those smoke alarms to anybody that wants them.
We do, smoke and carbon monoxide alarms.
They'll come in and install them.
Well,
yeah, for free.
That's great.
And so we always say there's no excuse not to have them.
Absolutely.
And, just real quick on carbon monoxide, a lot of folks don't quite understand how carbon monoxide is produced. It's actually a product of incomplete combustion.
Okay.
So sometimes we'll go into someone's house and they'll say, I smell carbon monoxide. Well, you can't smell carbon monoxide, right? Maybe you're smelling natural gas, but you can't smell carbon monoxide.
Sure.
Natural gas can produce carbon monoxide through the combustion process, just like any other combustible fuel, but there's no way you can detect carbon monoxide without an alarm. And one of the most common incidents we run is carbon monoxide emergencies. That's why we also provide free carbon monoxide alarms to anybody in city limits. And all this is funded through grants and opportunities we take advantage of.
And you can take advantage of those free smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarms by either calling the station or there's an actual form on the station's website.
Yep, absolutely.
So, what's the number, Chris?
The station number is 304-722-335. I better look that up.
Yeah. But I know the police station 727-2251.
Yeah.
Donna might kill me for putting this out on air, but I'm going to.
Well, we got to keep our citizens as safe as we possibly can.
We do.
Our station number is 727-2253, but I don't care to give people my cell phone number. I hand my cards out to anybody. My cell phone number is 304-382-6850. If you need a smoke or carbon monoxide alarm, call me directly, and I will come put it up.
That's perfect. We'll take advantage of that. We'll make sure that everybody that can be safe is safe and takes advantage of that. So, I mean, that's great stuff. And with that, I mean, there's a lot of training opportunities, that you guys go through to make sure that you guys are on top notch, always performing on top notch. And an initiative that kind of crossed into the training stuff was the initiative with the building department's dilapidated structures. Mm-hmm. And these, when they're awaiting that demolition, these kind of provide a little bit of a training opportunity for your guys. As these, as things are progressing through that demolition process, it opens up a door for some training opportunities in those buildings. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges we have when we do training is doing realistic training.
Yeah.
And we can have props. We can go to different fire schools and have different training houses and things like that. But nothing quite matches the realistic conditions of an actual house, especially a house in your city, because I don't know if a lot of people notice, but if you go around the city, each neighborhood sort of has a certain characteristic to it. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is if you go to a certain street, a lot of times those houses are laid out the same.
Sure, they are.
So we like to use those opportunities to better ourselves, not only with realistic training, but making sure that we're training in realistic conditions for the actual houses that are in our city to better serve our citizens.
That's great. And with this whole initiative taking off, I mean, there seems to be more and more of these training opportunities popping up with the number of buildings that have become on that list, right? Yeah?
Yeah, one thing I want to say is, even in the last 2 weeks, as I drive down to the police and fire department to check in on some things or deal with something, they're over. The fire department is over at the Loop, training. They're at the building, climbing up ladders. It's a constant training, and I'm gonna tell you what, St. Albans Fire Department, and people call me partial. They can call me whatever, but I'll put them up against anybody.
I agree.
And they're constantly training in the middle of the summer when it's 85, 90 degrees. They're out there training in full gear.
Yeah,
and that prepares them for actual fires and situations like that.
it does, and it provides a great real-time resource for that training, especially. But, and moving right along, probably you'll have a little bit more of that opportunity with now Roadside being revamped in that boat launch too. I mean, we were at the ribbon cutting. Were you there? I can't remember if
I
you
couldn't
were
make it. I was on call.
So we had a ribbon cutting down there at Roadside that launched that whole new project that was completed. What an amazing sight that is! I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, you need to go down and look at it.
But it's awesome. I want to thank the DNR. I want to thank Chapman Technical and Land Corps Builders for bringing this all together and developing this. The original design, we had to redesign the ramp down to the dock.
Sure. Because
of the Indian artifacts along Kanawha River. But Chapman did that with no problem whatsoever. But it's going to do it's three things that it's going to really and truthfully do. Number one, it's going to be an economic impact, because instead of let's say Chris lives around here or close to here, and he used to come to St. Albans. Now he's going to Nitro or wherever to put his boat in. All right, they're going to stay in St. Albans, and they're going to buy their snacks, their drinks, gas at Lou Wendell's or wherever here in St. Albans. So it's an economic impact for us. All right. Number two, it improves the quality of life for our citizens. All right, because we've extended the boat ramp 30 feet out with riprap, and that makes it less steep, and it's going to be a lot easier to get your boats in and out of the water. All right. And number three, it creates another avenue for St. Albans to become a destination spot.
Yes.
I mean, it really and truthfully does. And, people are going to come down here. They're going to put their boats in. They're going to enjoy the river, enjoy the weather. All right, but when they get out, guess what? They're probably maybe going to run up on Old Main. Yeah. All right, or at one of the restaurants locally and spend money.
Absolutely.
We're excited about that. St. Albans has become a big destination spot, especially right now, Old Main. But we want to keep bringing the mall back, and other areas of St. Albans to bring more people to St. Albans.
And it bolsters the civic pride too.
Sure, it does.
You're proud of your hometown because it's changing and it's doing good and it's growing and thriving. And it reflects on the outside world, and it attracts more people in because you have that strengthening of your civic pride.
You're right. And I call it community, community feeling.
Yes.
I remember when I was coaching girls basketball in high school, a lot of coaches come up and said, we're a little envious of you because St. Albans still has community. All right. Well, it's stronger today than it was then. And it's going to continue to get stronger with people taking pride in their community and volunteering. And that's the key. The city government needs to do what they're supposed to do and do it efficiently and as effective as they possibly can. but it takes volunteers. It takes the people of the community, all right, to make this community, St. Albans, the best it can be and continue to grow.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So,
and part of that growth is happening right before us because of the transition between Central Station. The police department is actually on the verge of moving into a new location.
It really is. And that's a win-win situation for us because not only is it going to create one of the finest, if not the best police stations, up to date. We've already had some training sessions in there. Mm-hmm. But it allows the fire department to expand in the present building where the police department was. So that's going to make them bigger and better.
Absolutely.
And so, we just got to keep St. Albans moving forward.
Absolutely.
We really and truthfully do, because I'm a firm believer that if you're not moving forward, you're dying.
Yeah.
And for too long in this community, people wanted to maintain. We don't want to maintain. We want to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, and it goes to say, I mean, with that progress moving forward, it speaks a lot of not only the leadership, but like you said, the community involvement within that leadership and how they all come together to make a unified kind of effort to improve everything and keep that progress moving forward. So, I mean, when we look at everything else that has gone on in 2022 and we look to 2023, it's an effort that becomes almost, I guess, a shared mission of sorts, with everybody.
Sure it does. And, one thing I did want to tell everybody was probably more the second week than the first week, but about mid-November, we're going to have a ribbon cutting and open house for that new police station. And not only is it going to give us an up-to-date, quality police station.
Sure.
It also is going to make recruitment easier, because I was in there during one of the trainings, and I was walking around listening to some of them during the break, and they were so impressed with what was going on over there. And it's going to allow for recruitment situations to be better, but again, one thing that I always do, all right, is if we're going to go, let's go big, all right, and let's make it the best that there is.
Yeah,
So
I would agree. I mean, and with that said, I mean they're also, I think, January 27th, they're accepting applications for probationary police officers again.
Yeah, it's going to be open up from early January to January 27th. Mm-hmm. They can receive their packets at City Hall, or they could go online at the stalbanswv.com. I know you're going to put some access to packets there, and so we're excited about that.
Absolutely.
We have to have 26 is where our full staffing is, and we're not there.
Right.
And so we're looking forward to that. And if we expand and annex some areas in the area, then we're going to have to hire some more people.
I've heard through the rumor mill, I don't know if it's a rumor mill, but you've kind of made some progress in that area. And what does that mean for both police and fire coverage?
Well, it's going to mean that we're going to have to hire more employees.
Yeah.
Not only in police and fire, but public works.
Sure.
And other departments as well. And but we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Sure.
We were approached about annexing a certain area down off 817, mm-hmm. the old 35, but we can't just take that in.
Understood.
We have to have income coming in besides the city service fees, and if we can get what I want, down to the Putnam County line, mm-hmm. and the businesses there along 817, then we'll be able to afford that and offer great services for the citizens and the businesses in that area.
I think it'd be a good win for everybody.
It would be.
Not only St. Albans, but like you said, the businesses and citizens there that would be provided that service. and expanded service in that community that's probably struggling a little bit to have that service available.
Sure, they are
on a regular basis too.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So
first thing we got to do is we got to annex Sun Valley in. COVID slowed us down in a big way on that. We were pretty much there, and then it just COVID hit, and we had to back off. So we've just got to get signatures and stuff for the petition there, but then we're going to look at other options. And the people don't understand that the population of the city of St. Albans is 10,861 people. That was the 2020 census. All right, 25177 zip code is like 26 or 27,000 people. All right, so those people are part of our community. They need to be within the city of St. Albans.
I would agree, and it can only get better, I think,
right,
with that happening, because it just grows our reach and our community sense. Bring these folks in and provide service to them, provide that sense of community and the resources and the activities and everything else. Yeah, it's going to expand things a little bit, but at the end of the day, it makes the world a little bit better because you've included a population of people that are in need of that.
Yes,
service.
They are. There's a flooding issue down there in Marlene, and that's why this was all brought up. But our city attorney, Tim LaFawn, who's been a city attorney for Winfield, other municipalities, he does not understand why people fight annexation. He doesn't understand it because the services that are provided through the fire department, the police department, public works, parks and rec, Hansford Senior Center, I could go on and on, is unmatched if you're not in the city.
I would agree.
I
would agree. And speaking of services, I mean, this holiday week has got the trash schedule all kind of just all crazy. But it actually makes sense if you sit down and think about it. It's so simple.
It is simple, and if you looked at my post, I had to be very direct and expand it out. But the bottom line is there's no extra pickup this Friday.
Right.
All right, we're off this Friday. We're off Monday, the 26th. And so everything's on schedule this week. There'll be no extra pickup on Friday of the 23rd of December.
Correct.
All right. The following week, we only have a 3-day week. All right. So Monday's pickup will occur on Tuesday. Tuesday's pickup will occur on Wednesday. Wednesday's pickup will occur on Thursday. And Thursday's pickup will occur on Friday. We will pay our public works guys overtime to come out on Friday morning because it is a holiday.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, to pick up Thursday's trash schedule. There'll be no extra pickup on Friday, December 30th. It's just the Thursday schedule.
So on the new year, seeing that, the second is basically that first Monday.
Yes.
Trash pickup on a regular normal schedule begins on that Tuesday.
It does. So Monday will be Tuesday, January 3rd.
Yeah.
Tuesday will be Wednesday, January 4th. Wednesday will be on Thursday, January 4th. 4th. Mm-hmm. And then Friday will be Thursday's pickup on January 5th.
And of course, and if there is any questions, we can have people call the Public Works Department.
Sure,
just
call
to make
Public
sense.
Works. It's on. I posted on my mayor page. It's on the City of St. Albans Facebook page. Mm-hmm. It's on the Public Works thing. We put it on the Heads Up app.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the information is out there.
I might sneak it on the fire department's social media too.
Sure.
I'm being sarcastic, but.
No, there ain't nothing wrong with that. The more we communicate, the better all things are.
Absolutely. I was just kidding, but we wouldn't be remiss to mention the proclamation that you had in council this week. And it kind of hits, me personally, growing up in the Catholic faith, of Father Pat's passing of St. Francis of Assisi Church. That was a devastating loss to the community. All the people that knew him knew what a type of guiding light he was in the community, especially the Catholic community here in town.
Yeah, he was awesome, but he reached out to many faiths out there, many people that were not necessarily Catholic, but it was a big loss for the city of St. Albans. He'd been there 35 plus years at St. Francis of Assisi Parish Church, and we read a proclamation. You know what's kind of funny? I've been in front of the House Finance Committee. I've been in front of the Senate Finance Committee. I've been in front of the cameras many, many times. I was more nervous the other day reading that proclamation at his funeral than I was at any of those other venues that I had to speak at.
He was quite revered.
Oh, he was. I mean, he always a kind word, man, always uplifting. He was awesome, man.
He was, and one of the poignant things that I saw, I don't know if you remember Mrs. Torres. Carlos Torres and Barbara Torres' mom.
And Mariana's mom.
Yeah, there was a picture that St. Francis posted on their social media post and page of Father Pat praying with Mrs. Torres.
Yes.
And it was such a moving picture. I mean, it just the energy and the spiritual energy in that picture was just amazing, and it was wild. So.
It was, and one other person I want to mention, Miss Pastori.
Yeah.
Bill Pastori's wife, Ellen and Melody, and Julie's mom. She's owned businesses in St. Albans for a long, long time. She passed away, and she was a big supporter of our community with supporting Festival Lights and many other civic activities that were occurring within the city. And that was another great loss for the city of St. Albans.
That was. And with council meetings happening, first and third Mondays of the month, right?
Yes.
And you can actually, people actually have 5 minutes at the end, or a lot of time at the end of the meetings for them to speak and kind of speak their piece, as you say.
Yep.
So with that said, I mean, don't forget if you have anything you want to bring up in council, come on down to council and bring it up.
Yeah. I agree with you, and we need more participation at the council level. But I also want to mention something. Sometimes the city gets lambasted on social media over a situation that the police department was never called for. I know Kirk Stadium was broke into, and people just kind of just really lambasted the police department. But nobody ever called 911 or never called the city of St. Albans. Let's communicate.
Yeah,
okay. Quit being keyboard warriors.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and pick a phone up and call either myself or the police station, and we'll do the best we possibly can to take care of the situation.
And there's a perfect opportunity at the council meetings that anybody.
Yes,
has that time that they can bring up something like that, or an issue that they have, whether it be whatever. But I echo that sentiment. They more involvement needs to happen.
Right,
more communication.
One thing we've had a lot of different scenarios over the years that I've been in this my 6th year. We cannot police bird feeders. We cannot police pigeons. Those are things that are above and beyond our control.
Yeah.
And I apologize about that. But, if you got a problem with pigeons, quit putting food out and feeding them.
Same with feral cats.
Yeah, feral cats, same way. Feral cats has been a thorn in my side since day one of me taking office.
And I'm not against cats or anything like that, but it's the principle of providing for those feral cats that creates the problem.
Sure it is. We got a cat at home, Binks, about probably 15, 16 years old, fat cat, an orange tabby. We love our Binks.
Yeah.
All right, but if you're feeding feral cats, they're going to keep coming around.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, that's the bottom line. And, the problem we have is the Canal Charleston animal shelter very seldom takes cats. And if they do take cats, they fix them, and you got to return them back to the same neighborhood.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Yes. Oh, yes. Now, they take dogs. on a regular basis, but they do not take cats on a regular basis.
I had no idea that was the case. I figured it was equal opportunity for any stray pet.
That's not the way it works.
But that's interesting to know. I had not, I didn't know that. But we've had a lot of Christmas events. I mean, here it is Christmas time. We've got all kinds of Christmas events going on. We've had them going on since, the 1st of December and earlier. We got the Festival of Lights underway, running strong. Obviously we've got some inclement weather coming in on Friday. And of course, we want to make sure that everybody's kind of mindful of that. And we've encouraged people to attend tonight and tomorrow just to keep everybody safe on that hill, because those hills up there are quite slick when they're slick.
They really are.
Dangerous. So.
And, check social media, guys. Depending on what we get on Friday, Thursday night and Friday, we'll determine if we're open on Friday night. That's a huge night for us. I hope that we can get it in, but we're not going to put people in harm's way.
Sure.
By coming out on the roads in inclement weather.
Yeah, it just makes sense. It just makes sense to keep people safe. But, speaking of people, in the crowds of people that kind of accumulated there on Main Street for that Christmas parade, calling to mind the amount of people that came out and lined that street for that parade was just pretty amazing. And it brought back a lot of, I guess, community feelings of back when, the shopping era, of downtown shopping eras. You remember those days when you used to go downtown to shop versus the mall or a strip or a sprawl?
I could tell you stories after stories, man.
But, just seeing that Christmas parade and seeing the amount of people there on Main Street was amazing. And I love to see it happen, but I wish it would happen more often.
Right, I agree. The crowds were wonderful. Patty Swango, who organizes the parade, did a fantastic job. It was the biggest one yet, and we continue to get bigger and better on all of our events. And so the people of St. Albans came out, and other communities also as well, not just St. Albans. Sixth Avenue was just packed.
Yeah.
Main Street was packed. I mean, it was just an awesome day. That was a huge day for the city of St. Albans celebrating the Christmas season.
I agree, and I lost count of how many fire trucks were in that. I mean, you had 3 or 4 departments: Lakewood, Westside, St. Albans.
Well, we sent that out to a lot of departments, and a lot of these departments, they live for stuff like that.
Sure.
So, they want to come and put their trucks in a parade, show them off. So they come out in full regalia for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it was big. I mean, sorry, my phone was irritating me and distracted me.
Yeah.
But, it just seemed like fire truck after fire truck after fire truck was in that parade, and it was great to see. And, right after that, you had the tree lighting. It was a big moment.
It really and truthfully was. I looked out when me and Santa Claus was up there talking, and we had the St. Albans Area Ministerial Association singing some Christmas carols, and I looked out to the crowd and I thought, man, this is good stuff, man.
Yeah, it was.
And so again, bigger and better.
Absolutely.
The more that we can do, we might have to make a few changes next year. Maybe do the Christmas tree lighting on Friday night, all right, because you got so much going on Saturday.
Sure.
You got the parade at 3. We had Santa Claus at 5. We had the Christmas tree lighting at 6. We had a non-denominational or all worship service at the Alban at 7. But we also had the boat parade at 7 over on Canal River. And we had the luminaries at the cemetery. So, St. Albans celebrates Christmas, and what I want to let people know or remind people of is remember the reason for the season.
Yeah, agreed.
The greatest gift this world's ever received, and that's our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. And it was a good day because there was a lot of that going on. It stayed within that reason.
Yes.
Because of you had that, all faith celebration. You had the ministerial doing the choir and the chorus and stuff like that. So it kept in that theme of where it should be.
Yes.
It was great. So, And on top of that, we had the treat of Santa Claus singing. I had no idea that Santa had such a great voice.
Sang national anthem.
He did. He belted it out like it was just, second nature. It was amazing.
Santa is multi-talented.
He is. I mean, I tell you what. But also, I mean, something else that's been going on for quite some time, but we've had both the residential and business decorating contests going on. And I think the Chamber has recently announced their winners of the business. St. Albans Shoe Repair took top honors this year, right?
Yeah, Charlie and Leora McCoy.
What a great group.
They were so excited. They'd ended up second and third a couple of years, and they won it this year. Second place was the Doghouse Doggy Spa.
Yeah. And
third place was Chandler Floor and Wall Coverings.
And then the residential, I mean, those are still, I guess, those have been announced, or they're...
On the Facebook page, St. Albans Chamber of Commerce, it's got the addresses, but it doesn't have the names.
It doesn't have the names.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all the judges that I talked to said it was so difficult to pick a winner.
I can imagine.
Because everybody stepped their game up.
Yeah, absolutely.
People want to be successful in this, and it gets people more excited about things, and so it was very exciting what went on from what I understand with the judges.
And as far as the winners, I guess, being presented to their prizes, that's going to happen in the first council meeting, the first of the year.
I believe so, yes. Yeah. We're going to, each winner of the wards and the 25177 outside of city limits gets $100. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure, I think it's 300, 200, 100 for the business decorating contest. I'm not for sure. So it's going to be exciting, and it gets more people involved.
Yeah,
people want to be part of it.
Yeah, and it bolsters, like I said, that civic pride.
Yes, it does.
I mean,
in a big way.
Absolutely. And something that else happened big was the donations of canned goods during that Christmas tree decoration contest at both banks, Truist and City National. From what I understand, they went all out and donated almost a little over 2,000 cans.
Yep, 2,000 cans of food donated to Christ Kitchen. And Christ Kitchen's a good thing. Mary Watson that runs that does a fantastic job. And, there's people that are hungry out there, and we need to feed those folks. I don't necessarily always like the fact that I see people coming down from Charleston, getting off the bus and walking over there and getting food.
Yeah.
But we don't judge. If you show up, you get food. And Mary and them and Tim Martin and whoever else is involved does a fantastic job.
I would totally agree, and it's gone to a great cause, and it kind of stays in town, which that's the aspect I like. It's helping a group in town versus 2 towns over, or nationally or whatever. It stays and helps the people here,
right here in St. Albans,
which is a great cause. So. But as far as the events that we've talked about, we've danced all around our topics right now. So we're just kind of trying to wrap things up a little bit. But with that said, we touched on the Festival of Lights. They got the final night on the 26th. If the inclement weather is kind of all it's going to ruin that night for us on Friday. We've got a final night on the 26th.
Yes.
But something that's coming up is the first event at Roadside Park. At the new upgraded Roadside Park with the St. Albans Parks and Rec. They've got a movie night planned on the 30th.
December 30th.
Yeah, it's an outdoor movie. You stay in your car.
That's a Friday night.
Yeah, so the classic, the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, they're going to show that. And you get some free popcorn and everything else while supplies last. But that's always cool because you get to stay in your car, and it's almost like the days of the drive-in. Do you remember that old drive-in on 35?
Valley Drive-In. Oh, my gosh. I've been going to that place since I was knee-high to grasshopper.
Used to cram in the car or the trunk or the truck bed and see how many people you can cram in a car to...
Well, that was when we was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I won't tell any more fit. But it kind of gives you that sense where you're able to watch a movie outdoors under the stars.
It's awesome.
And it's it's free. It's
and what
free.
People don't realize, a lot of communities have these movies, but the first community that started the outside movies was St. Albans.
St. Albans, West Virginia.
Yes, it was.
Yep.
It really and truthfully was.
And it's a big draw, especially in the warmer months. But I imagine, with everything that's been going on, everybody in the Christmas spirit and the upgraded Roadside Park, people are going to want to first glance at that and also get a free movie out of it.
Yes, it's going to be a great time. Scott Tweedy and the Parks Department does a great job on all the events and activities that we have going on.
Absolutely. And something that's been, out there, and bless their hearts, they've been trying so hard to get things rolling at the St. Albans Library. A good friend of a mutual friend of ours, Becky Goodwin,
Becky
reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you help?" And I said, "Sure." And she's involved with a program. It's an author speaker series over there at the St. Albans Branch Library. And what it is they highlight authors that have either ties in St. Albans or graduated St. Albans High School, and they feature them in a speaker series to talk about their books, their authorship, and their path in writing books. And through the course of the last couple of weeks and the last couple of months, they've had some unfortunate events with, electricity, fire, this and that. So they've had 2 or 3 events and they've had to either cancel or postpone. So, we've been trying to get things rolling over there with the St. Albans Write Speaker Series. So we've got it on the website, and you can check out the number of authors that are going to be speaking from, I think it was January through, I think it's June. I believe so. Is the length of time, and some really good authors in there. You've got Deb Austin Brown that was going to be in there. You've got Bill Curry is going to have his
Andy Spradling.
So
you could go on and on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing the number of people that from St. Albans that have had books published, and it's a great series. I've been to 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah,
and it's very interesting. And guys, come out and support these folks and St. Albans Library for this.
Yeah, and speaking of which, do you know the status on that library as far as when, from what I understand, the second floor?
It's still being treated by
Still being
Pro.
treated?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're still cleaning up.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It really was minimal, the damage that occurred. I think it was limited to the kitchen area or whatever, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, mainly in the kitchen. I tell you what, the fact that they had working fire extinguishers and someone that knew how to use them saved thousands of dollars of damage.
I can imagine.
There is a hint there, folks. Working fire extinguishers and knowing how to use them.
And smoke alarms and carbon monoxide.
Yes,
so
yes.
It all makes a magical puzzle of operational success, right?
It does. It does, and it saves lives.
Absolutely. So we wish them the best of getting their operation back in order and the St. Albans Writes Author Speaker Series back together and on the way. But there was a question I asked you, Mr. Mayor, in an email that I sent you. Looking back in 2022 from a civic perspective, what are you most thankful for 2022? Hate to put you on the spot.
Well, no, I'm very thankful for being the mayor of the city that I love. All right, that is one of the most thankful things that I am for. I mean, God first, family second, community third, country community, and we've made a lot of progress in this city over the last year in 2022. There's been some grants come down, and we got the plaza down there on C Street off Old Main. Mm-hmm. We've got some lighting done. We continue to increase our holiday festivities and our holiday atmosphere with lights on like South Walnut Street and everything. But just being the mayor of the city of St. Albans, the place I grew up, the place I wouldn't trade growing up in, is what I'm so thankful for. And I love this community. I'm not perfect by any means. I'll never claim to be that. My office door is open, and anybody that's got ideas, complaints, whatever, please bring them to us. If we can deal with it, we will, if it's a city situation. And I just look forward to 2023 being bigger and better, because all of our events are going to continue to get bigger.
I agree.
Be it Yak Fest. I know that the pub crawl group that did the Crawloween is going to do one on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, nice. You heard it here first.
Yeah, and so a lot of great things are going to be coming our way. And what I've realized with our businesses and our community, if we bring people to St. Albans, they keep coming back, because it's an awesome place. It's a destination spot, and we're going to continue to make it a bigger destination spot in the future.
Totally agree. And, and to pass that same question to you, Chris, from a civic perspective and I guess an emergency respondent's, perspective, what are some of the things that you've been thankful for the 2022 year?
Well, I tell you, I think, and I tell people this anytime I talk to them, I think that unless you've had to use the emergency services in St. Albans, you're not quite appreciative of just how good we are.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean me by any means, but I work with a good group of guys, and if the people in St. Albans knew the reputation that St. Albans, not only emergency services, but services in general, had with other municipalities and other areas in the state, they'd be very proud of what we got. I train with many different departments every year, and St. Albans has an excellent reputation, and we're known as one of the best fire departments. Our police department is known as one of the best police departments in the state.
Absolutely.
We're an ISO Class 2 department.
Mm-hmm.
So in Little St. Albans, our department ranks in the top 4% of fire departments in the country. So I'm thankful for that, and that's nothing that I did. That was here way before I even got hired here. This was built on down through generations of people that took pride in our city. And I think if you look around at the people that work for St. Albans, you'll see a pride that they have, a vested interest in our community that you're hard-pressed to find anywhere else.
I would totally agree. And, to have that, it's hard to follow up. But if there is a theme that I would be thankful for, as far as from a civic pride and civic perspective, it would be the opportunity to, one, be a part of the community and be back in the community that you grew up in, but also work with a lot of great people to bolster that community collectively, as a group, as a cooperation, as a common goal and a mission. Working with the mayor, you, Mr. Mayor, Chris, and of course all the departments, and Anthony, of really promoting the town in a way that it needs to be promoted, to level up things and get that recognition that St. Albans duly deserves.
Yeah,
for all the greatness that it is. So
I agree. I agree totally. One of the biggest things is promotion. Like I said, I'll never claim to be the sharpest pencil in the box, but I try to surround myself with good people. But I know how to be successful, and I know how to promote. All right, and St. Albans is a great, great community, and we got people moving in here right and left all the time. But we got a lot of people visiting, and they keep coming back, and that's what we have to do, because we don't meet the logistics of a direct interstate access and things like that. So we've got to give people a reason to come to St. Albans, and when they come, they keep coming back.
Absolutely. I mean, those are great remarks there, because you're right. It gives people a sense of, hey, that's a cool town. Let's keep visiting.
Yes.
Hey, that's a great town. Let's move to St. Albans.
Yes.
That's the ultimate of the transition between a visit and a move-in. But other than that, as far as closing remarks, I think we've hit a lot of great topics. And, with that said, any other further closing remarks from you, Mr. Mayor?
I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. I pray that God continues to bless each and every one of us, but also the great city of St. Albans.
Absolutely. And Chris, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight and being with us tonight. Any closing remarks you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, just Merry Christmas to everybody that hears this, but also with colder weather coming up tomorrow, just be mindful of common sense safety precautions. Have working smoke alarms. Make sure that you're using your heating devices within their intended use, and use some good old common sense, and it goes a long way.
And water that tree.
Water that tree.
And so real quickly, I mean, I know we're trying to get a closing remark going, but is there a truth behind putting aspirin in a tree, in the water of the tree?
I've never heard that.
Oh yeah,
I've never heard that.
Growing up, we used to, when we had a real tree, Mom would always put an aspirin in the water of the tree.
Well, if Mom did it, then I'm sure it works.
It's gospel at that point, I guess.
Yeah. One other thing I want to say, and it's kind of a bummer note, but my stepmom, my dad's second wife, passed away this morning about 1 o'clock down in Myrtle Beach. She was 91, lived a great life. She passed away in her sleep.
Oh my!
And I asked for prayers for the friends and family, and
absolutely,
and to get them through this time of loss. But let's also remember the reason for this season.
Agreed.
Because the greatest gift that this world's ever received is our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and that's what we're celebrating.
Absolutely. With that said, we have to thank our friend and our producer, Anthony Lewis.
Yay, Anthony.
Pushing all these buttons and making everything happen. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. We all do. So from all of us here in the studio, we want to wish everybody a safe and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and all the blessings of the best holiday season you can have. A Merry Christmas to one and all. So on that, thank you for joining us for the City of St. Albans official podcast from the desk of Mayor James, and we hope this inside look at our city government and upcoming events helps you feel more engaged with your community. And we also appreciate your support of our efforts to make St. Albans a thriving community for all. And be sure to subscribe, like, and share our podcast on your favorite podcast platform and on social media. And don't forget, our podcast episodes are available on our city's website at stalbanswv.com/podcast. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you soon.